Well, MSNBC host and former White House press secretary Jen Psaki admitted Sunday that President Biden's recent interview with ABC may not be enough to help her former boss following his disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump back in June. The week following the debate, Biden sat down for an interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos as well in an attempt to salvage all the damage. This is an example of how that went.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
He did the goodest job he knows how. Goodest. Yeah, that's the man who has his thumb on the nuclear button. Psaki gave her critique that the interview was okay, but probably not enough to turn the tide. See for yourselves. Here it is.
I watched it. I've watched a lot of these. I've prepped him and others for a lot of these. I would say it went just okay for the president. I mean, in many ways, people watching saw what they wanted to see. Because for some, he looked better than he did at the debate. He did. He was more clear. He seemed much better prepared to make his case and make the case against Trump. But there were also some moments, and not just one, that did not go well. I mean, overall, when the interview ended, it left us all in this sort of purgatory for the moment. I mean, it was better than debate, not a home run at all. And even if it was a home run, one interview definitely doesn't have the capacity to change the perception out there of 72% of voters, according to a CBS poll, who do not believe that Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve.
Here with me now to discuss all of this is the goodest guest we could find. The goodest guest. The managing editor of Newsbusters at the Media Research Center, Curtis Houck. Curtis, how are you today?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
You are the goodest, just so we know. Look, the fallout has been remarkable since June the 27th. Joe Biden's in a tailspin. He cannot recover what's going on. And then he comes out today with this letter to congressional Democrats saying, basically, go pound sand. I'm in it to win it. And look, nobody wants to hold that job more than Dr. Joe Biden. We all know that. I mean, what a mess this is. But all the kidding aside, I mean, this is Saturday Night Live material for the next 10 years. The problem is we're playing with a real nuclear football and real consequences with China, Russia, North Korea, and a host of others. This is easy to make jokes about it, but it really isn't funny, is it?
No, and fortunately for Joe Biden, SNL really won't be going after him, or if they do, they'll be totally fine with it because they can drag Maya Rudolph off, who plays Kamala Harris on the show, and they can be all like, you know, she's the super queen around here. What was interesting about the George Stephanopoulos interview was Stephanopoulos asked some of the questions that needed to be asked, and he really probed on certain topics like Biden's neurological state. But he did so from a place of concern, as if he were a concerned son or grandson. He had that moment where he said he had talked to somebody who said people would cheer your name if you left, you know, kind of trying to urge him to leave. And the end question about, well, what does this say about democracy? And if everything you say about Trump comes true and you lose, and Biden says, I gave it the old college try. People were really upset about that answer more so than some of the cognitive answers. So, and I would just add that the media are definitely seeming to try and turn on Joe Biden. Some of the networks are. That is a reason that he called into Morning Joe today to really secure his own base, Joe and Mika, the two lead lemmings there, his favorite television show, for a phone interview with all sorts of softballs, where even then he was defensive and angry. He read from notes. You could hear the paper shuffling during the interview as well. He admitted that he was reading from notes. So things aren't really going well for Joe Biden, despite their attempts to try and say that the media are with them or that the base is with them. There's definitely some tension there.
You know, some of the big people that would normally be with Joe Biden, Bill Maher, Michael Moore, James Carville, they're all gone. These folks are gone. They're done. And the big money donors. You know, he just had a fundraiser canceled in Wisconsin. That might be the biggest story of all that nobody's talking about. Look, the donors are like, yeah, I'm going to hold on to my money and see what happens, because they all believe, it's interesting, this whole Parkinson's disease. I've been talking about that for the last several weeks here on the program, that, you know, we have been led to believe it could be Parkinson's. Then we find out this doctor's been there 10 times. That's obviously a big problem. And you have all these other revelations coming out. And so I wonder if Donald Trump is not going to be the 47th president, but the 48th. I've said that before, too, and for good reason. Right now, as little as we think about Kamala Harris, she's more competent to do the job, isn't she, Curtis?
Well, if it means standing up and being able to, count to 10, then sure, I guess. I mean, for conservatives and the Make America Great Again movement, the idea of a Kamala Harris presidency is definitely dangerous because she actually knows what she's doing, or she knows what she's thinking, and when she says something, she means it. She'd be in charge. She'd be fully in charge and able to put her thumbprint on whatever she wants the administration to do, whereas Joe Biden is just signing whatever's put in front of him. He's like he's like Anchorman, where he's just reading what's in the teleprompter, whereas Kamala Harris, she'd actually want some input in what she's doing, so things could be a lot worse for the American people.
Yeah. I look forward to Kamala Harris's speeches from the Oval Office. She can draw big Venn diagrams and tell us how that's going to work. It'll be a beautiful thing, and where it all comes together. Look, we're in a dangerous place. Again, all kidding aside, we're in a dangerous place because Beijing, Moscow, Pyongyang, these places look, Tehran, they can see, the whole world knows now. And here's the worst part, Curtis. The news media knew. The Parkinson's doctor, he's there for a reason. He's not there one time, he's there 10 times now. Latest report just came out a few minutes ago. 10 times he's there. So we know what the issue is. And the fact of the matter is, Curtis, I firmly believe they knew before the 2020 election that Joe Biden was in this place. And they covered it and they protected it. The media's guilty. His inner circle is guilty. Democrats are guilty. And when I say the media, I mean executives in executive offices at the big networks, at the big newspapers. They knew. I give you the last word.
It was the perfect marriage. The media wanted Donald Trump out. They got the sugar high of all the big ratings and money injected into their backsides from there. And you had somebody like Joe Biden who wanted to be president more than anything. You had Jill Biden who wanted to be president more than anything. And you had the Biden family, which couldn't wait to get inside the White House. People like Hunter Biden, apparently now a senior advisor. So it was the perfect marriage. The media have decided they've used Joe Biden for achieved their aims. Donald Trump has been convicted felon. We'll see if it's overturned. Check, check, check. Now we can jettison Joe Biden.
Yeah, well, if the election were today, even with all the shenanigans and the games, Donald Trump's at 312 electoral college votes and counting. Curtis Houck, always appreciate you being here, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Steve.